Hey Han, I'm Chloe and this is the shoulder mount hang or hangman tutorial. My mission is to share my passion for pole dancing and make pole dancing easy to learn and accessible. This is the 24th video of the intermediate pole trick tutorial series. In order to maximize your training out of all the videos, I highly recommend you to start from the very first video of this playlist, as the tricks will be a progression of the video before. The shoulder mount or the hangman is an extremely crucial part of the intermediate tricks. We will go through 6 leg variations and also 6 hand grip variations as well. This video is mirrored for your ease of learning. I'll have a red wristband on my right limbs to indicate the right side of my body if you do get confused of the directions. This trick tutorial is created for you for information and educational purposes only, and for you to enjoy learning pole dancing from the comfort of your own home. Please participate at your own risk and don't work beyond your capability, and seek help or spotting when necessary. For any health concerns, please make sure you seek professional medical advice. Please warm up before you try this trick. I have a warm-up depending on your level under each playlist so that you can warm up before you try the tricks. If you're looking to further your pole journey in combining tricks and dance together, then consider subscribing to my online learning platform, Pole Art Vault, where you learn tricks and dance together and learn an entire routine with combos and dance together. You can find the link in the description below for further information. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get into the shoulder mount hang or hangman tutorial. Alrighty, now let's get into our conditioning. Now our first conditioning consists of our legs and our lower back. Now the leg conditioning is going to help you through improvement of your leg extensions, also protecting your back while you do the shoulder mount, and just making sure that your overall aesthetic is looking nice when you do your hangs. So coming down onto the floor, feel free to grab a yoga mat if you need. Now you're going to lie on your stomach while your legs are just around shoulder width apart. Now you can either stay on your forearms or your elbows, or you can come all the way down onto the floor with your chest down. This is totally up to you. For me, I find it very optimal where I stay on my forearms. Now you can either place your palms down onto the floor or you can interlock your fingers together. I'm gonna place both of my palms down to the floor. Now from here, you're going to squeeze your glutes and squeeze your legs and think about lifting your toes off the floor. Now, as you do so, I want you to think about really kicking your leg nice and high until you feel it in your lower back. Now, if you don't feel it in your lower back, it might be because you're too far low down onto the floor. So try adjusting your body. If you're low on the floor, you might be able to lift a bit higher. This is really depending on the person. So if it helps you to come onto your forearms, feel free to do that as well. Now, the other thing you can also do is once you place your forearms down on the floor, use your hands, press those hands down into the floor and pull your hands towards you to help you leverage kicking those legs up. Now, other key point is try not to bend your knee as you lift. I want you to keep your legs nice and straight. So let's do 8 of these. So press your palms down into the floor, pull it towards you, or you can extend it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, keep your legs straight, 3, use your lower back, 2, last one, well done. I'm hoping that your lower back and your legs are starting to feel nice and warm now. Good, now let's move on into our next conditioning exercise. Still on the floor, we're going to do our V knee tucks. So sitting on your booty this time, you're going to extend both of your legs forward. Now for this particular one, you can bring your hands a little further back so that you are in a slight incline, and it's probably easier this way as well. Now, when you're in this position, make sure that you're not arching your back nor hunching or slouching. Try to keep your back neutral and engage your core, and you're gonna start squeezing your legs. Now, from here, you're gonna lift both of your legs up, and you're gonna tuck your knees in, extend, and then you're gonna drop it back. Again, if it helps you, make sure that you're leaning backwards. And for me, it does help if I'm not bringing my hand all the way to the back, but slightly to the side so that I have a little bit of press through my hands. So again, engage your core first, switch on your core, lift your legs up, tuck your knees in, and then drop it back down. Now, I know these ones are quite intense, so just make sure that you keep work on your quality of the movement. So we're not gonna go too many, but we'll try 4 of these. So engage your core, switch on that core, engage, lift your legs up, tuck your knees in, extend, and then drop it back. Good, 3 more. Knee tuck. Good, 2 more. Engage your core first, switch it on. Last one. Engage, lift, tuck, and down. Well done. All right, so I hope that your core and your legs are feeling quite warm now after those 2 exercises. Now let's get into our last one, which is conditioning the shoulder and understanding the engagement in the shoulder mount hang. Now, we're coming into our cup grip hand, which for those that haven't done a cup grip before, all your fingers are all on the same side of the pole. So remember, when you are coming into this position, make sure that you're gluing your fingers all the way together and you're cupping the pole with all your fingers around on the same side of the pole. So a common mistake here is if you haven't done cup grip before, I see a lot of people wrapping their thumb onto the other side of the pole. Just make sure that your hands are all on the same side. Now, we're gonna start off by placing our trap onto the pole and understanding where the pole should be sitting. So I'm just gonna zoom so that you can see. You wanna make sure that the pole is sitting right on your trap, very close to your neck. It should be right between your shoulder blade and your spine. Now, when you're placing your shoulder onto the pole, it shouldn't feel really bony. It should feel comfortable. I mean, comfortable is a nice way of putting this, but it shouldn't feel like you're hitting a nerve or a bone or any sort. Now, once you place that shoulder on, whichever shoulder that's on the pole, so let's say for example, if my right trap is on the pole, I'm going to get my right hand just closer towards me. So let's say I place my trap, I'm upright, I'm gonna get my hand just above the head. Then my left hand or my other hand is gonna come on top of it. So remember, if my right trap is on the pole, my right hand is closer towards me. Now from here, I'm going to start leaning back. So tilt your head back until you're looking up towards the top of the pole. Now, once you look towards the top of the pole, make sure that you're not leaning and extending your front of your neck. I want you to engage by pulling your chin slightly in and engaging the back of your neck. So you're shortening the back of your neck and engaging. So I'm looking up, engage through your neck, tuck your chin slightly towards your chest, and we're gonna start off by engaging the core. So tuck your tailbone in and come onto your tippy toe. Tuck your tailbone in, come onto your tippy toe. Tuck and onto your tippy toe. So as soon as you tuck and come onto your toe, you should feel the front chain here, your front of your hip, and also your core switch on, your glute switch on, and your back switch on as well. Now, when you come onto your tippy toe, remember that we're not arching our back. I want you to think about engaging. So you're pressing your hip forward and think about tucking your tailbone under. So when you're in this position, you should feel your glute switch on, your front of your hip switch on, your core switch on, and also your back switch on simultaneously. And your quad switch on as well. Now that we're trying to understand the engagement when you get into the hang, is our hand. Now, once you come into your cup grip position and you're looking up towards the ceiling, making sure that your elbows are shoulder width apart, we're going to start lifting one leg up. You're gonna drop it down. Remember, you're still engaging the core, then you're gonna bring your other knee up. Keep that core engagement and then bring the other knee up. So remember again, if you're arching here and bring your knee up, it's gonna be really hard for you later when we start doing the shoulder mat hang. So remember to tuck first, engage through the core, see if you can lift that leg up. So your back of your neck should be switched on, you're pressing your shoulder onto the pole, you're locking that hand in. Think about pulling the pole over your shoulder. So it's almost like you're doing those over the shoulder. So coming back in position, I'm gonna try it on the other side this time. So I'm gonna get my left trap onto the pole, left hand closer to me, right hand on top, elbow locks in shoulder width. I'm gonna tuck the tailbone in, come onto my tippy toe, engage through the core, pull the pole over your shoulder, lift one leg at a time. Good, keep that core engagement. Nice. Once you start to get a hang of it, I want you to think about lifting both of your legs for a second, whoop, and swap. Lifting both of your legs for a second and swap, whoop, swap. Lift, swap. Nice. Well done. So there is all your conditioning done for the shoulder mount. Alrighty, now let's get into our shoulder mount or hangman tutorial. Again, as we mentioned earlier, we're gonna try 6 different leg variations and also 6 hand grip variations. So this is what a shoulder mount hang or hangman looks like. Straight leg cup grip, cross leg true grip, bent leg mixed grip, cross bent leg mixed grip, stag leg twisted grip, elbow grip mixed legs. Alrighty, so that is a lot of different leg variations and hand grips. Now, just a reminder that you do not have to get every single hand grip or leg variation. And just remember that not every leg variation or hand is going to be for everyone either. So try picking and choosing. However, I do recommend you to at least give it a go, because sometimes, you know, initially you're like, oh, like this move isn't for me, but you actually find that once you do it maybe 3-4 times, you start to really enjoy it, surprisingly. I mean, if you remember doing your Superman for the first time, it was very, very painful. It's the same thing. Remember that every hand grip, if it does get painful, then it does take a little bit of practice to understand it. Let's go through the mechanic of a shoulder mount. So first things first, you are placing your trap onto the pole. Now with your trap, remember that it should be very close to your neck, and the placement should be in between your shoulder blade and your spine. So I'm gonna get it a little bit closer again so they can see. So it should be rolling out of your shoulder blade, and it should be in this comfortable spot where you feel like it's feeling quite squishy to push into. Now let's go through our hand positioning. Now we obviously have 6 different grips today, but we're gonna start off with our cup grip. So with our cup grip, we're gonna have our inside hand, so the same hand as the one with the shoulder on the pole, onto the pole closer to you, just above the head when you're in a standing position. And then your other hand, your outside hand, is going to come away from you towards the ceiling. Now remember, with your cup grip, all your fingers are on the same side of the pole and you're cupping the pole. Now from here, you're going to start bringing your elbow in so that it is shoulder width apart. Now commonly your elbows start to flare out, so make sure that you close it in. It's almost very close to where your head is. Then we're gonna look up towards the ceiling. Now when you're looking up, please make sure that you engage the back of your neck. You are not just dangling in your neck. This is gonna be really hard for you to engage everything. So remember, you are looking up towards the ceiling, but you're engaging and pulling your chin slightly towards your chest to get that back of your neck engaged. Now, once you get in position from here, you're going to start coming onto your tippy toe. You're gonna tuck your tailbone in, engage your core. You're gonna squeeze your glutes. Squeeze your quads, engage the core. Think about pulling the pole over your shoulder, lift your chest up into the ceiling, and then control it down. Ooh, that was a little bit painful, wasn't it? I know what you're thinking. It's like, oh, this shoulder hurts. Look, it is not a very normal thing to do unless you're very used to a hard massage. This is like essentially giving yourself a hard massage, right? So just give yourself a little bit of grace. If you need to take a rest on one shoulder, remember you have two shoulders, so you can try it on the other side. Remember, you do everything on both sides. You will regret not training both sides later on when there's moves where you end up on the opposite side when you do a transition. So make sure you train both sides. Now, so there is your mechanic of a cup grip shoulder mount with your straight legs. So all I did was just lift the legs up and then come back down. Remember, work on your exit as well, very, very gently, please. Do not disengage as you come down. Keep the core engagement, and then you're gonna slowly drop down by dropping through your chest down to the floor. Well done. Now, and make sure you do a few of these on both sides, but I'm gonna move on to the next grip so that you can try the next grip. So the next grip we're gonna do is our true grip. Now with our true grip, same exact mechanic, however, the difference between the cup grip and the true grip is that you are pulling the pole out of the ceiling with the true grip. Now with your cup grip, you're thinking about pulling the pole out of the socket or over the shoulder. So you're almost pushing it out, but this one you are pulling the pole out of the ceiling. So you're gonna get that trap back onto the pole. I'm gonna do my left side so that I can balance it out. I'm gonna get my left trap onto the pole between the shoulder blade and the spine. Your inside hand, so this time my true grip hand, my left hand is gonna come onto the pole, thumb facing up, elbow facing forward. Now my right hand is gonna come again so that both of my elbows are facing forward. Make sure that your elbows aren't turned out, otherwise you'll probably hurt your wrist. And also it's a very uncomfortable position. So think about hugging your elbows in, nice and close. Now, make sure that your elbows aren't fully coming in. It should be still about shoulder width apart. Now you're gonna look up towards the ceiling, then lifting onto your tippy toe, engaging the core. Now this time, I'm just gonna try a cross leg. So you can honestly cross whichever leg you want to. I'm gonna cross my left leg on top of the right so that when I'm facing forward, this leg looks nicer than, yeah, I think so. I like this leg better. So I'm gonna cross my left leg on top of the right, squeeze our adductors in, look up towards the top of the ceiling, then we're going to lift through the chest, engage your core and lift through the chest. And then control it down. Ooh, well done. Again, give your trap a rest if you need to. Ooh. Alrighty, now there's a true grip, cross leg. Now let's move on into our mixed grip. Now with our mixed grip, we actually have two different ways of mixed grip. So your inside hand cup grip, outside hand true grip, and then you have the other way around. So you've got your outside hand in a cup grip and inside hand in a true grip. So let's try both of the variations. Now I'm gonna come back onto my right shoulder again so that I can try it. I'm gonna have my inside hand in a cup grip and outside hand in a true grip. So my cup grip hand is the one that's closer to me and the true grip hand is the one away from me. So the mechanic of the mixed grip is going to be a mixture of the true grip and cup grip. So with your cup grip hand, you're gonna think about pulling the pole out of the socket, so pulling the pole over your shoulder. And then with your true grip hand, you're gonna think about pulling the pole out of the ceiling. So your cup grip hand pushing away, true grip hand pulling down to the floor. So you're gonna set yourself up, so both elbows shoulder width, you're gonna look up towards the top of the ceiling, engage through your neck. Tuck your tailbone in, engage your core, and this time we're going to do a knee tuck. So you're gonna tuck your knees, and then coming down. And there's your mixed grip. So with your knee, there's multiple different angles and this is probably the time to start exploring with different leg variations. You can have your knee about low, you can even bring it up. It's totally up to you and the higher you bring it, it becomes a little bit harder, so just keep that in mind. And there is your mixed grip knee tucks. Now, the fourth grip we're going to try is a true grip hand on the inside hand, cup grip hand on the outside hand. Now again, if your wrist is starting to hurt, it's probably because you're wrapping your wrist too much. So try to keep your wrist as neutral as possible. So when I mean by neutral is from your fingertip to your wrist should be in one line as you grab it. The reason why your wrist is probably hurting is because you're wrapping it as such and you're putting a lot of strain in your wrist. So when you're grabbing the pole, make sure that you're adjusting so that from the back of your palm to your wrist is in one line. Now I'm gonna pull the pole out of the ceiling with the true grip hand, push the pole away with that outside cup grip. And this time I'm going to try a cross leg. So I'm gonna cross the leg, so my inside leg on top of the outside first, and then lift the knee up. And then stepping down with control. Well done. So there is your mixed grip, cross leg. Now that I've done both on the right side, I'm gonna switch on to the left side and try the next grip, which is a twisty grip. Now with that twisted grip, first things first, very important, make sure that you screen so that your shoulder can come into a full flexion. So this is one almost or very close to 180 degrees. Now this is very crucial in terms of getting that twisted grip. If you feel like at any given moment your shoulder is starting to hurt, you might want to strengthen and understand the mechanic of a twisted grip by doing the Juliet spin tutorial. You can also try the ballerina, anything to do with twisted grip, and also the twisted grip backstag as well. So make sure that you understand the mechanic, otherwise you might hurt your shoulder. Now let's try coming into a twisted grip position. So you're gonna get, again, your trap onto the pole. So I'm gonna get my left trap. This time I'm gonna bring my left hand on top and making sure that your thumb is facing up. So think almost like, rather than getting your elbow facing forward, I want you to turn your palm away from you and then grab the pole with your thumb facing forward. Now, when you're in this position, think about just warming up your shoulder by pulling the pole out of the ceiling and think about dropping the shoulder away from your ear. Now, in terms of your engagement, is extremely crucial. When you grab the pole, I want you to think about wrapping your shoulder blade around the pole. I know that you're not turning your wrist naturally when you're in this position. I mean, you won't be able to like really turn your wrist here, but when you're thinking about your shoulder engagement and your lat engagement, please make sure that you're switching on your lat. So you're not just hanging in your shoulder, you're thinking about wrapping your shoulder blade around the pole. So you can see that as soon as I pull up and come onto my toes, I'm switching on my lat, and that's the engagement you need so that you can really work on your shoulder engagement and not to get your shoulder injured. So you should feel your trap engage, you should feel your rotator cuff engage, and also your lat as well, your whole entire, and your shoulder blades as well. Now from here, keep your trap onto the pole, and then I'm gonna get my outside hand into a cup grip just behind the elbow. Same mechanic as the mixed grip, you're gonna pull the pole out of the ceiling with your twisted grip hand, push the pole away with your cup grip hand, and then we're gonna try the stag leg variation. So you can stag whichever leg you want to, really. You can lift your outside leg or your inside leg, totally up to you. I think I'm gonna lift the inside leg up first, and then the outside leg is going to stag. So think about, if you're doing the stag leg, think about your leg that's a little bit higher, the toe is meeting the knee. Well done. So again, please make sure you keep protecting your shoulder. I have had an injury in my shoulder for a long time that I've been managing. So please be careful when you're doing your twisted grip shoulder mounts. Well done. Now let's get into our last grip, which is our elbow grip. Now with your elbow grip, same concept as the mixed grip or the twisted grip. You're hooking your inside elbow onto the pole, which is the pulling arm, and then with the cup grip hand, you're thinking about pushing the pole away from you. So I'm gonna get my left trap onto the pole, elbow onto the pole. Now when you're hooking your elbow, if your left trap is on the pole, left hand comes up, think about getting your elbow onto the pole, your palm facing away from you, and then you're gonna lock it in by locking it down to the floor. So your palm should be in front of you. Now from here, my outside hand is gonna come into a cup grip. Now this time, I'm gonna try the one leg bent, one leg straight version. So I'm gonna hook my inside leg over the outside knee, above the knee, and then I'm gonna lift through the chest. So engage through your core, switch on your core, then lift. And then control it down. Now with your elbow grip, remember that you're not just pulling your elbow down to the floor. I want you to think about pushing the pole with the elbow. So you're not, once you pull your elbow down, I want you to think about pushing the elbow into the pole away. So your palm away from the pole. So same thing as the cup grip, push the pole away from you with both of your hands. Then you're gonna cross the inside leg on top of the outside. So make sure that your ankle is above the outside leg. Then engage your core, lift, and then coming down. Well done. Just a reminder that you do not have to get all of this. Just make sure that you keep practicing consistently, and then the more you practice, the better you will get. Whew, that was a mammoth tutorial, so well done. Alrighty, now let's go through some tips and common mistakes. Now the first tip I have for you is understanding the different grips and what the mechanic is of the hand grip. Okay, so the easiest way to remember this is that with your cup grip and your elbow grip, you are always thinking about pulling the pole over your shoulder or pushing the pole away from you. Now with your true grip, twisty grip, you are thinking about pulling the pole out of the ceiling. So remember that with your mixed grip, it's gonna be a mix of pull and push depending on the grip. So keeping this in mind will help you understand the mechanic of which hand grip does what. Now let's also talk about our grip points for this one. So it's obviously both of your hands and it is also on your trap. Now remember that with trap grip, if you do not have your skin exposed where your trap is sitting or on the slightly on your upper back, it's gonna be really hard for you to hold this position. Now, I do recommend if you do have like really thick straps on your trap, I would highly recommend you to move it out of the way so that you can place the pole on your trap and you have ample grip. So if you need, or if you have sweaty skin, or if you have a sweaty trap, make sure you wipe it off and make sure that you apply something a little bit more drying unless you need something tacky. And if your hand is sweaty or dry, just make sure that you apply something a little bit more, so countering what your dryness is. So remember that with grip, make sure that you're always countering what you have. So if you have sweaty skin, make sure that you dry it off and apply something dry on your trap or your hands. And if you have dry skin, then make sure you apply something a little bit more tackier so that you have enough to tack onto the pole. I have really sweaty hands, so I apply something drying on my hands, but my body gets dry, so I apply something tacky on my trap. Now let's go through understanding the engagement in your neck. Now I briefly explained just before that you need to engage the back of your neck. However, sometimes you're like, I don't understand by engaging the back of the neck. So this is how you understand the engagement. So you're gonna get the back of your head onto the pole and get the back of your butt onto the pole or your tailbone. From there, you're going to start rolling slightly onto the top of your head. So you should be looking at an angle onto the ceiling. So the crease between the wall and the ceiling. Now from there, I want you to think about pressing the back of your head or the top of your head onto the pole. And you should probably feel your back of your neck switch on. Now that's the engagement that you want when you are in your shoulder mount. So if you just disengage the back of your neck, that's probably how you get a neck strain. So you want to think about, surprisingly, you do need some neck muscles in this one. So I want you to think about really engaging, pulling your neck in, and then engaging the back of your neck, and also you should feel it through your trap as well. So if you need that sort of switch on of your muscle, I highly recommend you to just try a few exercises where you're just pressing the corner of your head onto the pole and just press the back of your head into the pole. Now that we understand the neck engagement, let's go through what the chest and the shoulder is doing. Now, commonly in the shoulder mount, if you are really used to using your upper back a lot, your shoulder starts to hunch and you end up having this really rounded shoulder mount, which is firstly not very aesthetic, but also you end up not doing a correct positioning and you end up having this really hunchy shoulder mount when we start to do it very soon. Now, making sure that your back is flat and your shoulder is flat is going to be very crucial. So if you have a tendency of rounding your shoulder, I want you to think about opening your chest and bringing your shoulder blades slightly backwards. And I don't mean by like arching too much, it's just about making sure that you keep your shoulder neutral. Now, once you get your shoulder back to neutral, so that from your side profile, your shoulder is aligned to the rest of your body rather than shoulder in or backwards. From there, I want you to think about bringing your shoulder down to the floor, and then you should feel your lats engage. Now, if you're like, oh, I don't feel my lat engage, this is a very common one, by the way. It might just help by bringing your elbow in. So bring your elbow all the way in, squeeze your elbow in, and think about pulling your shoulder down to the floor. So remember that, again, if you need to switch on those muscles, first you might want to do a few sort of engagement exercises where you pull your shoulder up and then down. Try a few of these and it might help you activate your lats a little bit better. So understanding that, now the pull motion, again, remember that you're engaging your hands in all sorts of ways depending on your hand grip. Then the last bit is your lower body, what your lower body is doing. So remember that the easiest way to do this is you're standing on the spot, you're grabbing the pole in whatever grip you'd like, and then from there, you're going to lift up onto your tippy toe as you engage your core. So remember that this should happen at the same time so that you can get your hip in full extension and your core is switched on straight away. Then from there, your elbows, remember that your elbows have to be shoulder width apart. This is a really common mistake again. Your elbows coming all the way in. Make sure that your elbows are shoulder width apart and thinking about pulling your elbow down to the floor, engaging through your lats. So there's a lot going on here. Bear with me. So you're pulling the pole, elbows shoulder width, engage your lats a little bit more, press your trap onto the pole, and then you're gonna squeeze your butt cheek and then lift. Nice. Now remember that the last component, I want you to think about really pressing your chest up into the ceiling. So think almost like engaging through your shoulder blades and lifting your chest up. Now, if your lower back hurts in that position, it's probably because you're not engaging your core as soon as you get into the movement. So remember, try not to dangle your shoulder mount. I see a lot of people do that. You can see that like my core is not engaged and I'm just arching. So remember to really work on that core engagement because that is what's gonna help you really get that full shoulder mount once we start moving into it. Now lastly, just remember that, again, if it's hurting your collarbone, if you feel like some bony part of your body is hurting or your shoulder area, it's probably because it's in the wrong position. So remember to keep that pole nice and close to your neck, and it should be sitting right in between not actually on the shoulder blade, but just onto the side of the shoulder blade, in between your shoulder blade and your spine. So there you have it, that is all your tips and common mistakes for the shoulder mount hang. Now this is probably the perfect time to start working on this little tip I have for you today. Now that we're in an intermediate level, this is the perfect time to start exploring different shapes. Now, I have introduced you today, and I have been introducing you to so many different leg variations or hand variations of each of the move. Now, this prompts me to teach you how to explore different shapes and different ways of executing a move. Now, just remember that there are so many different ways that you can explore your legs as well. So it could be from smooth legs, so maybe you can work on leg waves, or if you're more into sort of like your sporty type, then you might want to think about straightening your legs, just more like rigid sort of legs. So that's one stylistic choice that you have. You can do your leg waves. You can make your leg waves really big. You can make your leg waves really dainty and small. So let's say, for example, in the shoulder mount, you can do your leg waves if you like. Now that's a stylistic choice. Now the second one is different shapes of it. So remember that with your legs, what your leg consists of is your toes, your ankles, your knees, so there's your knee bend, and then also your hip as well. So remember that with how I explore shapes is how I can potentially maybe cross my legs together, how I can bend one leg and straighten the other one, or I can bring one leg a little bit higher, I can scissor the legs, or I can even do a passe here. Can I bend it? Can I flex my foot? That looks kind of cool. So just remember that try exploring with different shapes by coming down onto the floor. You can sit on your booty, and then you can try exploring different leg shapes. Oh, that's nice too. That's really nice. Flex leg. Oh, this is pretty cool too. So remember that stylistic choice is gonna be totally up to you, and this is a perfect time to start really working on your style and what your style preference is. Thank you so much for joining me in the shoulder mat hang or hangman tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the very next tutorial. Bye! Good boy. Carrot face. Good boy.